So now I'm going to offer the floor to the FLOT mentees. So we're being joined today by Kaija, Phumlile, Onalenna and Carol. There we go. So the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Carrie. Yeah, I'm just starting to share the presentation. Yeah, hello, my name is Kaija. I'm a sport management student from Germany, and I'm part of TAFISA's Female Leaders program. It is an honor and a great opportunity for us today to talk about the project and also to share our experiences as young female leaders. It is still a long way to go, but we are ready to take the necessary steps. We, the female leaders of tomorrow. Who are we? Tinka from Slovenia, Phumlile from South Africa, Carol from Zambia, Onalenna from Zimbabwe, and me. We are the representatives of the female, of the mentees of the FLOT project. Due to internet connection, unfortunately, Phumlile and Onalenna can't be here with us today, but they've been also part to prepare this presentation for this event today. What do we want to share? First, I will just give a quick overview of the FLOT project, and then we will talk about our motivation to join the project and also about what empowers us. Further on, we will talk about our future aspirations and which barriers we still face as young women in sports. And last, we will end the presentation with changes we want to see in the future, especially as females in the sport environment. Who is part of the FLOT project? So in total, we are 20 mentees and 11 mentors from 14 different countries from Europe and Africa. And besides TAFISA, there are also 3 more partners, as mentioned before, involved in the project. What is the project about? The project includes a comprehensive mentoring program. Each of us is part of a trio composed of an African mentee, a European mentee, and also a mentor either from Africa or Europe. Within our trios, we are asked to design and develop own projects supported and guided by our mentors. Through this process, we are able to develop leadership competences, to gain knowledge, and also to build strong and inspiring connection, especially within our trios. Initially, the project would have also included 3 mobilities, but obviously due to the current situation of COVID-19, we were not able to meet in person yet, but maybe we will later this year. What are our experiences so far? We got engaged with women from different countries and have learned that even though we are in different countries, we are somehow having similar problems that we can find similar solutions for through our exchange and the projects we do together. The exchange is very valuable for us to learn about the other mentees' experiences and challenges. Carol and me found out that even though there are differences in Zambia and Germany, that the core problems such as safety issues, discrimination, and sexualization of women in sports remain the same. Why did we join the project, or what is our motivation to join the project? From my personal side, I've been involved in Sport for All and volunteering already for quite a while, and motivated to create positive change through sport. And sometimes this striving for change can feel quite lonely in our daily lives. So the FLOT project is just a great opportunity to meet people who also strive towards the same goal. Obviously also to gain new experiences, to learn how we can give hope to other young girls and to create positive change through sport. And also hopefully to get prepared to become female leaders.
So what do we find so inspiring about the project? Actually, the quote here on the slide is the best summary. And it goes like, the most empowering aspect of the project, in my opinion, is to meet all other young women being involved in sports and motivated to create change. Because you're surrounded around these young, strong women, future leaders, you really want to help each other grow, think outside the box, and create solutions for the problem we face. That's why I think this project will really give us a lot of opportunities, new knowledge, and chances to exchange our experience in sports for all, so we can really become future leaders of tomorrow. So through our lives, as women, we face obstacles related to the fact that we are female. When we were talking between ourselves, we actually figured out that mentees from Africa and Europe have quite the same experience. And the first one was that men feel superior to women in any place or industry, especially in male-dominant areas. As a woman, I personally have come across people, especially in sports, thinking that I'm not good enough or capable enough, or that men are just better fit for that job. Second one is also when women achieve the same results or even better one, men feel embarrassed, and sometimes they start to comment inappropriate things that can really hurt your self-esteem, your career, or your life. For example, one of the mentees said that she got comments like, you look like a man, you're doing drugs, you're doing doping, and these comments can have some serious consequences to your life. Also, a big issue I have experienced last month was constantly getting interrupted while I was giving a lecture. The same guy even made fun in front of everybody of how I pronunciated one word. I really felt like embarrassed and comfortable. And it was like this really weird feeling that somebody will always interrupt you and even made fun because you don't know how to pronunciate one word. And it was not even Slovenian word, because Slovenian is my mother language. It was word from Russia, a Russian language. So of course I didn't know how to pronounce it correctly. Also, another barrier is that people are focusing on our looks instead of our work and results, and the same goes for representation of women in media. And the last thing is constantly forgetting that there are women in sports too. Usually people are talking and focusing only on men's sports. Also in the university, in the lectures, they are forgetting about women. And only when do you ask them, what about women? Are they women in sports too? Oh yeah, then they remember. We have also women in that area. So it's really sad that it's perceived as normal that sports environment is male dominant. Therefore, our inspiration is to see women being treated equally as men. So everything you can do for men, you can do as well for women. We also want to, throughout the sports, create safe environment where people can learn to respect each other and help each other. As well, I think this is really important to teach girls that sport and exercise is not about being skinny, but it's the means to build strength, health, confidence, and self-respect. So we go now to Carol.
Thank you, Tinka. I think I'll just take it up from where she stopped. So, from this project, what change do we want to see? Okay, so first of all, the first change that we want to see after this project is more women in leadership positions. We've observed that in almost all the organizations, we find that we have more men taking up leadership positions at the top level, while women are left under to take up maybe subordinate positions. I was surprised that I think 2 weeks ago I attended an African conference for my sport, Judo. I was surprised to find myself, I think we're just the two of us, only two women, and there were about 36 country representatives, meaning that in those countries, they don't have female representatives who are taking up the top management positions. So it's our hope that in future, after this project, we are able to see change. We see more women in leadership positions. Then the other thing that we want to see is sports for all. We want all women to be involved in sports, regardless of their physical appearance, regardless of their difficulties that they go through. Yes, so we want sports for all. We want women to be involved in all sports. Then the other change that we look forward to is platforms that will allow exchange or maybe to be heard, so that women can have a platform where they can maybe express their feelings, express what they think, because most of the time a lot of women do not have self-esteem. They fail to stand up like in a group of people. But if we have this platform where we'll have women express themselves and maybe share barriers that they face when they try to take up leadership positions, I think it would be a good change to see. Then we also want to have national women games, like in each country. Maybe we should have a promotion of national women games, such that women can be able to involve themselves in those games and maybe take part in those games that they feel like they can't take part because they're male dominated. So I think it will just give them motivation and a boost just to go for those games, because they'll know that they're women, they'll be free to participate and they won't be judged anyhow. Then the other thing is equal representation in media. Uh, I can give an example of my country. We find that most sports codes that have a lot of women, they do not appear in media. Or we find that if a man does well, they'll be everywhere in media. But if a woman brings maybe back a gold medal, there'll just be maybe a small portion in the paper, or maybe just a small piece in social media, or maybe the newscast. They'll just talk about it maybe for a few minutes or a few seconds. But for a male person, it will be like the whole month, even the whole week, they'll be talking about that everywhere in media. But for girls, they're not given that chance. So if women are also given the equal representation in media, I think that would motivate young girls. They'll have people that they'll look up to. Then we also need safe spaces for girls. We need safe environment for sports girls, because most girls are scared to go to these sports facilities that do not have any safety. We can say maybe girls are scared to be harassed or maybe to be abused. So we need sports places that will be safe, and they'll provide safety to all the girls that will participate in those sports codes. Yes, I think from that one, I think I can give it up to Kaya to conclude.
Yeah, thank you so much for listening to our presentation. I hope we could just briefly explain which changes we want to see or which barriers we face. And yeah, then I will give to Carrie to ask some questions.
Thank you so much to Kaija, Tinka and Carol for a phenomenal presentation. You sold the FLOP project far better than I ever could, so I think I know who to call on anytime I have future presentations. It was fantastic, and I think that I can speak on behalf of all participants that are joining us right now to say how wonderful it is to hear about the experiences of young women as you go through your journey to become the next generation of sport for all leaders. I think it would be great for the participants to know about the individual projects that the three of you are working on for the FLOP project. So maybe Tinka, you could go first and just explain a little bit about what your individual project is and what you're aiming to achieve with it.
Yes, so our main goal is to raise people awareness of the importance of physical activity and try to explain and present to the people the meaning of proper exercise, because if you don't exercise correctly, then you can injure yourself, and in the worst case scenario you need to stop, and then actually you don't have any benefit of being active. So this is like our main goal, but also we want to create an environment where everyone will feel safe, accepted and respected, no matter their differences. Because I think that when people start feeling those things, that you are respected and accepted for who you are, that's it, we won, because then there is no more space for aggression and mistreating people. So we have actually quite two goals. One is to raise people awareness for correctly exercising, and the second one is trying to create safe environment for everyone. Now Kaija and Carol, I know they have project together, so I don't know which of one of you will represent.
Yeah, maybe I can just briefly summarize the project Carol and me are doing together. We are actually developing leadership program for young girls through sport for development activities and interactive workshops. So this is actually the part where we try to give back what we are learning through the FLOT project to younger girls. Yeah, the project is focusing on activities to build up competences, leadership competences such as responsibility, self-trust, and also decision making. So yeah, that's actually what we want to do, and we want to implement this project in already existing structures. So I'm, for example, already working in a local rugby club, and I have a group of girls with a refugee background, and that's the group I will try to implement the project for. Carol, do you maybe want to add from the Zambian side?
Okay, so my project, the project we're implementing it in already organized settings. So I have judokas. I've got about 10 girls that I'm working with, and I'm trying to implement this project with them. Uh, our project is mainly about leadership competencies, which we believe that if it starts at the younger age, it will mature in them. They'll grow up with it, and they'll be able to have self-esteem and have confidence. Yes, so our project is mainly an interactive project with the young girls. Yes.
Thank you so much to the three of you. I have a second question for you, and then I think we can open the floor and see what questions have been asked in the chat. But in your own capacity and within your own setting, I know that you take this position of being the next leader of the Sport for All movement with so much fire and passion and motivation. So how do you think that you, as a young woman, can contribute to the empowerment of others within your own setting?
Okay, maybe I can go first. So I'm working mostly with women of all age groups, from young girls to the elder ladies. What I try is to give them the mentality of working out for their health and for feeling good and powerful in their skin. Because when I start to work out, I really feel so strong that I can achieve everything. And I really want to give them this feeling of empowerment. And also the second one is about teenager. As I said, we need to represent them the sports as a means to build themselves. You know, they're very easily convinced about what is this ideal of beautiful, perfect woman, and that they need to look like her and be perfect in every way. And those ideals of perfection are actually misguided, because there is no such thing as perfect. So I really try to represent sports to them just to be healthy and to exercise because you love that. I'm actually from rhythmic gymnastics, and if you know the sports, like, girls need to be really, really, really skinny. And I'm actually one of the only coaches there to say, no, no, you don't need to be skinny, you need to be healthy. So that's how I try to empower other people.
Yeah, maybe I can add on that. So besides the project Carol and me are doing through developing leadership competences within young girls, I think it is also in our responsibility to build awareness for gender topics in general, also in our personal environment. So for example, as Tinka mentioned before, I'm studying sports management, and the topics we're talking about, the examples we're getting, it is mainly about male sports. And me as a female, I just feel underrepresented. And that's where I think it is my responsibility to raise questions within seminars, raise questions and say, well, okay, we've talked about male sports now. What about women in sports? Are there examples? Can we talk about that as well? And I personally had the experience that when I started to raising questions, also the lecturers started to reflect on that. Also, the other students started to reflect on that. And I think that's also a main part where we can play a role in raising awareness for gender issues.
Thank you so much, Kaija.
Okay, so just to add on a few from what they've talked about. Okay, so my role as a leader or a young leader, I'm trying to empower women through motivation and mentoring young girls. uh, uh, it's very rare, like in my setting, to have a role model, a leader, a female leader. It's very rare. Mostly we have a lot of males who are leaders. So it's for young girls to just look up to someone. It's very difficult. So I'm setting up a standard where they can have people that they would look at and say that, okay, I want to be like that woman, I want to take up this leadership position. So I'm trying to maybe empower them with knowledge, and also to encourage them to concentrate on their studies, because it's very common, like in my setup, for young girls to drop out of school. They drop out of school, maybe in primary school, they drop out. So it will be very difficult for them if they have to take up any leadership position, because they are not educated, they don't have any literacy in them, they don't know how to read. So my concentration is on education. Like it's very easy for them, if they are educated, to get any leadership position as a woman, because as a leader in my setting, like, you have to be almost perfect. They need you to do maybe 10 times to prove a point that you are able to take up this position. They can't just give you a position when they know that you can't even try. So you have to make sure that you do it. You don't have to try, you have to do it for you to be given that chance to lead people. So it's very difficult for young girls in my country to take up leadership positions, because they are not educated. So like I've stated, I'm working with some girls who I'm trying to maybe just open their minds to make sure that they concentrate on school, because they will know in future they won't have any leadership positions to take up if they're not educated. So that's my main concentration. Thank you.
Thank you so much to Kaija, Tinka and Carol, and also thank you to Phumlile and Onalenna, who I know contributed to the presentation but were unable to connect. Looking at the comments that have been made, I can see that there's so many people that are so inspired by how powerful you all speak, and the passion and the motivation that you have, and to reflect on what Wendy had said, that we definitely feel like the future of Sport for All is in safe hands with you as the next leaders.